Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Automate Live. My name is Maureen Frost, and I'm from A3. And today I have Liam Wilby with me, who is with us. He is the senior series developer from BBC StoryWorks. So welcome. Thanks for being with us today,
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit more about what BBC StoryWorks is?
Sure, yeah. So BBC StoryWorks is a content creation studio that's housed within what's called BBC Studios. BBC Studios is the massive organization that oversees really anything global that happens at the BBC. So obviously BBC in the UK, and then BBC Studios is the global arm. It's also the creative, international, commercial arm of the BBC. And what we do at BBC StoryWorks is we make online documentary style series that explore really some of those topics that have within them the biggest challenges facing humanity at the moment, but within which there are lots of really interesting solutions, for example. And so those topics are in really, really broad different areas, but they often sit within kind of 4 or 5 different kind of themes, if you like. So we do a lot in health, in technology, like here, in climate and environment, and also things like infrastructure as well. What we do at BBC StoryWorks is we always partner with a major association or an industry organization that's working in that space to help us to tell those stories. So over the last kind of 5 years, we've worked with organizations like the WHO Foundation, the World Wildlife Fund, the Consumer Tech Association, Partnership on AI, and now A3. And that's why we're here, and we're working with you guys to make this series.
Yeah, we're super excited to be working with you and bringing these stories to a larger audience. So the series is called Age of Automation. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Age of Automation, it's a branded content series produced by BBC StoryWorks for A3, as well as the kind of content partners. And those partners will come from predominantly A3's networks, the people who are here at the event today. Essentially, what we're trying to do with the series is really just bring those human stories of automation to our global audiences on BBC.com, but also beyond. The reason for that really is that so I've been walking around this conference hall for the last kind of 48 hours and just seeing all this amazing different technology, and the impact of that technology is really, really important, but that's communicating that step, which is vital for making sure that we continue to explore what automation can do for us. And so what we're trying to do is just really bring those human stories that really show not just what that technology is, but what the technology is doing. And so that's the kind of overarching aim for the series. What we do is we'll produce somewhere in the region of about 12 to 15 short films, each with a different partner, just exploring some of those solutions with it that automation is providing, but which are solving challenges that go beyond just factories, for example. Of course, that will be part of it.
Yeah.
But also thinking about, what is the role in terms of the environment, the environmental challenges we have, what is the impact in health, what is the impact in agriculture, all these sorts of different areas. So broadly, that's what we'll be doing. And there are 3 kind of key thematic areas that we're gonna focus on. They are very briefly an industrial transformation, a healthy world, and a resilient future. And then each of those chapters basically represents a kind of thematic bucket within which we'll put each of the stories. And each of those is covered by a kind of guiding question, if you like. So I'll go through this very quickly. So the first is an industrial transformation. And we're going to ask, how has automation transformed from just kind of the mechanization of very simple tasks to the creation of a really kind of human robot workforce? So that's the first one, an industrial transformation. A resilient future, which is where we're going to ask, how is automation contributing to a more environmental and socially resilient world, whilst also, addressing its own emissions, for example. So that's the second. And then finally, a healthy world. We're just going to look at all the ways in which automation is helping health systems across the globe, basically just improve health, improve global health. So those are the kind of 3 areas that we're going to be looking at. And again, what we're doing is we're currently collecting all these different stories that will kind of go into those different buckets. The series then will all be launched on a hub site on bbc.com. It'll be the Age of Automation series, and people can go on there. They can watch one episode. They can binge watch all kind of 12, 15, and it'll just be promoted across bbc.com and kind of beyond.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's so important to connect the technology with actually the solutions and how it's going to help our world. And I think that that's maybe the disconnect. Like we're here, we're amongst all of the people that actually work in the tech, but the people that don't necessarily know it. And this is a great way to show them how it can help their lives, how it's going to impact them and impact our world. So it's really awesome. And we're very happy to be partnering with the BBC and telling these stories. So can you tell us a little bit more of some of the stories that you'll be covering in the series?
Yeah, definitely. So we have stories, again, across all of those different areas. And I'll just talk on kind of top line rather than going into too much detail. But basically, again, what we're trying to do is really just showcase the impact of these technologies. And so, for example, we have a story that's looking at the way in which automation is helping the development of an exoskeleton and the functioning of an exoskeleton, basically just to help someone who can't walk. It's a really good example of the kind of human impact story that we'll be looking at. We're also looking at how in the kind of agriculture space, how AI and sensors are basically helping to increase yields within a greenhouse, but also to reduce the emissions as well. So thinking about that intersection with food security and also water as well, and the kind of water use that goes on there.
Yeah, what's great about that is, automation is going to be helping the challenges of the future that we're having, and that's one of them right there. So it's really interesting to see how it's going to be helping and just assisting in those areas.
Yeah, definitely. And again, that's the way to communicate. And I can speak a bit more about that in the scenes, but that's how to get your message across, is to really show how it's impacting those things that people are already aware about, like things like food security, things like health, all things like that.
That's great. Are there any other things that we're going to be covering? Any areas?
Yeah, definitely. So kind of in the world of health, we're looking at, again, how AI and automation is helping actually young children with vision. So how those that have limited vision, there's a really interesting project going on to basically help them in a similar kind of mold to the exoskeleton. Staying with health as well, we're working with a major health system actually here in the US that's doing all sorts of different things with automation, but really we're going to focus in the story on robotic surgery. So really thinking about that kind of that futuristic kind of next step, but also just looking more kind of day to day within the hospital as well, where that impact can really be done just through automation.
Yeah, I mean, it's happening now, and people who are just going in for surgery, it's part of their routine and part of what's happening. So it's really interesting to actually hear the story about it and everything.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And then, of course, we'll also be looking kind of in the factory as well. And we have a really interesting project looking at how basically automation is contributing to what we might call a smart factory and the kind of various different things that exist within that in order to just make the workforce kind of, safer, but also kind of more resilient generally. So
yeah, well, that's great. It sounds like the series is going to be covering all the different ways from manufacturing to being out and helping our food systems and helping us in healthcare and allowing people to be able to do things that they maybe weren't able to do with limitations. So it does seem like there's a lot of different solutions that automation can offer the world. And I am happy that you are showing a light on that and that we're partnering together to kind of share those stories and let them be seen by a wider audience. So that's great. So when does it premiere and how can everyone watch it?
So the series is going to be launching kind of towards the end of autumn, towards the end of this year.
Okay.
And really, production will be happening over the summer. And so what will happen is when we launch, the series will go live on bbc.com. And then there'll be a real distribution campaign that comes with that, where we kind of push it to appropriate audiences on bbc.com. So the kinds of people who are coming interested in this stuff already, a more general audience. But there's also a kind of distribution campaign beyond that, where we start to talk to really people who are here today as well, right? The people who are making decisions in this world. And I think that's a really important thing when it comes to the kind of storytelling that we're doing. Even for, people who are living and breathing this stuff every day, if you're trying to communicate to people within the industry, you still need those human stories to showcase the impact, right? You still need to be able to show the impact, even to, a CEO of someone who's working in this company already. So we want to speak to those audiences as well. And so there's a full plan to reach those guys as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everyone can relate and identify with the stories that you're going to be telling. So that's great. So. And we are really looking forward to seeing it. Do you have any last words you want to leave everyone with about the series?
Yeah, absolutely. The last thing is that we're still open to hearing more stories. So say we've got plenty of stories in production, but there's a few kind of slots that we're still looking to fill. So if anyone here at Automate, if anyone has a story they want to share, if they think anything be interesting to us, get in touch with me. The trailer will be playing. There's a QR code at the end that you can scan and it goes to me, or you can just find me on the conference materials and just reach out and see if we can make a film.
Yeah, that's great. You can find Liam. If you can't find Liam, you can find one of us at A3. And we're really excited about this series and we can't wait to watch it. So Liam, thank you for being with us today, joining us on Automate Live, and we can't wait to watch the series in the fall.
No, thanks so much for having me. Enjoyed it. Cheers. Thanks.